Imagine a world where everything imported becomes instantly pricier. This bold plan calls for a hefty 20% tariff on all goods entering the United States. The objective? To bolster domestic industries, encourage companies to bring manufacturing back to American soil, and ultimately, boost the U.S. economy. Proponents argue that it will level the playing field for American businesses, protecting them from unfair competition. They envision a resurgence in domestic manufacturing, leading to job creation and a more robust economy. However, critics caution that such a drastic measure could trigger a trade war, raise prices for consumers, and stifle innovation. The proposed tariff is a complex issue with no easy answers. Its potential benefits and drawbacks are intricately intertwined, making it crucial to carefully consider all sides of the argument. The stakes are high, and the outcome of this debate could have a profound impact on the economic landscape of the United States and the world. Tariffs, taxes imposed on imported goods, are not a new concept. One of the most well-known examples is the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, enacted in the United States during the Great Depression. Intended to protect American farmers and industries from foreign competition, the act instead had disastrous consequences. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act resulted in retaliatory tariffs from other countries, escalating into a full-blown trade war. Global trade plummeted, exacerbating the economic downturn and prolonging the Great Depression. However, not all historical examples of tariffs paint such a bleak picture. In some instances, targeted tariffs have been used strategically to nurture infant industries or address specific trade imbalances. For example, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the United States used tariffs to protect its burgeoning steel and manufacturing industries. Understanding the nuances of past tariff policies and their consequences is essential for evaluating the potential impact of the proposed 20% tariff on imports. One of the most immediate and tangible impacts of the proposed 20% tariff would be felt by consumers. From everyday essentials like clothing and electronics to durable goods like cars and appliances, the prices of imported goods would likely increase. This price hike would ripple through the economy, impacting consumers across all income levels. For instance, products heavily reliant on imported parts like smartphones and computers could see significant price jumps. Similarly, goods with limited domestic production, such as certain fruits and vegetables, could become more expensive. For consumers already grappling with the rising cost of living, the proposed tariff could exacerbate financial strain. The price increases could force families to cut back on discretionary spending, potentially impacting industries like travel, entertainment, and dining. Moreover, lower-income households which spend a larger proportion of their income on necessities would bear a disproportionate burden. While proponents argue that the long-term benefits of a stronger domestic economy will outweigh the short-term pain of higher prices, critics worry about the immediate impact on household budgets and the potential for a decline in consumer spending. The proposed 20% tariff has sent shockwaves through the global community, raising concerns about potential retaliation and the specter of trade wars. The interconnected nature of the global economy means that unilateral actions by one country can have far-reaching consequences. Trading partners are likely to view the tariff as a protectionist measure and could respond with retaliatory tariffs on U.S. exports. Such a scenario would harm American businesses that rely on international markets, potentially leading to job losses in export-oriented sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and technology. The ripple effects of a trade war could extend beyond immediate economic impacts. Strained trade relations can spill over into diplomatic tensions, undermining international cooperation on critical issues like climate change, security, and global health. The interconnectedness of the modern world demands a collaborative approach to trade, and a retreat into protectionism could have unintended and far-reaching consequences. While proponents argue that it is a necessary step to protect American interests, critics warn that it could spark a tit-for-tat escalation of tariffs, harming global trade and ultimately hurting the U.S. economy. The potential for global backlash and trade wars is a significant risk associated with the proposed tariff. One of the central arguments in favor of the proposed 20% tariff is that it will bring back manufacturing jobs to the United States. Proponents envision a scenario where higher costs for imported goods make American-made products more competitive, leading to a resurgence in domestic manufacturing. However, the reality of manufacturing in the 21st century is more complex than simply bringing back jobs from overseas. While the tariff might incentivize some companies to relocate production to the US, several factors could limit the impact on job creation. Firstly, automation has significantly transformed the manufacturing sector. Many tasks previously performed by human workers are now automated, meaning that even if production returns to the US, it might not translate into a significant increase in employment. Secondly, the global supply chain for many products is incredibly complex and integrated. Imposing a tariff could disrupt these supply chains, leading to higher costs for American manufacturers and potentially making them less competitive. While the proposed tariff might lead to some job creation in manufacturing, it is unlikely to be the panacea that some proponents envision. While much focus is on large manufacturers, small businesses are crucial to consider. They are the backbone of the US economy. Operating on tight margins, they are vulnerable to price increases. Tariffs could ripple through the supply chain, impacting small businesses in various ways. Higher costs could squeeze profit margins, forcing price hikes or absorbing expenses. This puts them at a disadvantage compared to larger businesses. Decline in consumer spending could further strain small businesses. Layoffs, reduced hours, or closures could result. Small businesses are often at the forefront of innovation, and tariffs could hinder their growth. The potential impact on small businesses is significant. The proposed 20% tariff has ignited a debate about the role of government in the economy and the best approach to fostering economic growth. Proponents view it as a necessary intervention to protect American businesses and workers from unfair competition, arguing that it will ultimately lead to a stronger and more resilient economy. Critics, however, see it as a short-term fix that could have unintended and potentially harmful long-term consequences. The potential for short-term gains, such as a boost in domestic manufacturing and job creation, must be weighed against the risks of long-term economic harm. Retaliatory tariffs, trade wars, and higher prices for consumers could offset any initial benefits, leaving the economy worse off in the long run. Moreover, tariffs can create a climate of uncertainty and discourage investment, hindering long-term economic growth. Businesses thrive on predictability, and the prospect of fluctuating tariffs and trade tensions can make them hesitant to invest in new facilities, hire additional workers, or expand into new markets. The proposed tariff represents a gamble, a bet that the short-term benefits will outweigh the long-term risks. While it might provide a temporary boost to certain sectors of the economy, it could also create unintended consequences that undermine long-term economic stability and growth. The debate over the proposed tariff goes beyond economic policy. It reflects a broader philosophical divide between globalization and protectionism. Globalization, characterized by the free flow of goods, services, and capital across borders, has been a defining feature of the global economy for decades. It has led to lower prices for consumers, increased competition, and greater access to goods and services from around the world. However, globalization has also been blamed for job losses in developed countries as companies move production to countries with lower labor costs. This has led to a backlash against globalization, with some advocating for protectionist policies like tariffs to shield domestic industries and workers from foreign competition. The proposed tariff represents a shift towards protectionism, a departure from the free trade policies that have dominated the global economy in recent decades. This shift reflects a growing sentiment that globalization has not benefited everyone equally, and that governments need to take a more active role in protecting their citizens from the downsides of a globalized economy. The debate over globalization versus protectionism is complex and multifaceted. The proposed tariff is a manifestation of this tension, reflecting the ongoing struggle to find a balance between the benefits of a globalized economy and the need to protect domestic interests. The proposed 20% tariff on all imports is a bold and controversial proposal that has ignited a fierce debate about the future of the United States economy. Proponents view it as a necessary step to protect American jobs, boost domestic manufacturing, and achieve economic independence. Critics, however, warn that it could trigger a trade war, raise prices for consumers, and ultimately harm the economy. The proposed tariff is not a magic bullet that will solve all of America's economic woes, nor is it a guaranteed recipe for disaster. It is a gamble, a calculated risk with potentially significant consequences, both positive and negative. Only time will tell whether it will be remembered as a bold move that revitalized American manufacturing, or a costly mistake that pushed the world closer to a trade war.